Hello, you're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting Express News. During its visit to Siwan in Bihar, Prime Minister Narendra Modi flagged off a state-of-the-art locomotive built at the Marhora plant for export to the Republic of Guinea under the Make in India initiative. It is the first export locomotive manufactured in this factory. Prime Minister laid the foundation stone and inaugurated multiple development projects in Siwan. The Prime Minister inaugurated the new Vaishali-Deoria railway line project worth over 400 crore rupees. Prime Minister Modi also released the first installment to more than 53,600 beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban in Siwan in Bihar. Prime Minister Modi handed over keys to beneficiaries of more than 6,600 completed houses. Addressing the gathering at Siwan, Prime Minister Modi highlighted the productive and progressive government schemes for the nation. Prime Minister Modi extended birthday wishes to President Draupadi Murmu on Friday. In a social media post, Prime Minister said that her unwavering commitment to public service, social justice and inclusive development are a beacon of hope and strength for everyone. India's President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated Rashtrapati Niketan, or the presidential retreat, at Rajpur Road in Uttarakhand in the presence of Governor along with Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. President visited the National Institute for Empowerment of Persons with Visual Disabilities. She interacted with students, reviewed facilities and emphasized on the importance of accessibility and equal opportunities for all. India's Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal, who was on a visit to United Kingdom, held a meeting with Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves. Both leaders discussed opportunities to further strengthen the India-UK economic partnership. The minister had an engaging discussion with Oliver Prill, CEO of Tide, a business financial platform based in the UK. Both discussed the fintech ecosystem, digital empowerment and fostering SME-led growth across both the economies. The 8th edition of the biennial Indo-French Joint Military Exercise Shakti commenced at Camp Larzac in France. Exercise Shakti is a bilateral training engagement between the Indian and the French armies aimed at enhancing interoperability, operational coordination and mutual understanding. An encounter between police and Naxals or left-wing extremists is underway in Chhattisgarh's Kankar district with official confirmation for one death. Firing continues from both the sides. The International Police Cooperation Unit of CBI, in collaboration with NCB Abu Dhabi, UAE, successfully brought back wanted red notice subject Beery to India on Friday. Moeddin had procured high-quality fake Indian currency notes at Dubai and transported the same to Bengaluru via Sharjah. Governor of Sikkim, Om Prakash Mathur, flagged off the first batch of 36 pilgrims as the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra resumed on Friday. This marks the first time in 5 years that Indian pilgrims are undertaking the sacred journey. Marking a boost to road connectivity in Uttar Pradesh and a step towards region's development, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath on Friday inaugurated the Gorakhpur Link Expressway in Azamgarh city. June 21st is International Day of Yoga, and this year the theme is Yoga for One Earth, One Health. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister will join thousands in a display of unity, wellness and India's timeless gift to the world. India's Ministry of Ayush aims to integrate yoga into daily governance and office routines. Thus, it has urged yoga leaders to organize Yoga Sangam on 21st of June and make sure the event is part of the global celebration by registering it on the yoga portal. Multiple yoga events have been organized by the Indian Army at the Defence Services Academy, Myanmar. 45 Burmese officers from diverse age groups took part in the session. Indian Army training introduced yoga to the Kazakh armed forces, emphasizing on its effectiveness in mitigating stress and lifestyle-related health challenges while promoting overall well-being. In Tashkent, Uzbekistan, the Lal Bahadur Shastri Center for Indian Culture is spearheading a mega event which brings together a wide spectrum of participants. These events reaffirm Indian Army's commitment to promoting a culture of wellness, mindfulness and shared global values. The Ministry of Culture will mark the 11th International Day of Yoga by organizing yoga sessions at 100 tourist-based iconic destinations and 50 more cultural sites across the country. Indian equity indices ended on strong notes on Friday. Sensex rallied over 1,000 points to end at 82,408.17. Nifty zoomed 319 points on Friday to settle at 25,112.4. Indian rupee ended 14 paise higher at 86.59 per dollar on Friday. Gold futures maturing on August 5th were priced at 98,810 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for July 4th maturity stood at 1,06,548 rupees per kg on the MCX. Oil prices fell on Friday after the White House delayed a decision on US involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict. Brent crude costed $76.94 per barrel. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has asked NATO to exclude Spain from raising its defense spending target to 5% of gross domestic product. Japan's core inflation jumped to a 28-month high of 3.7% year-on-year in May, led by high rice prices. The inflation rate has remained at or above the Bank of Japan's 2% target since April 2022. The European Union banned Chinese firms from government medical device purchases worth $5.8 million in retaliation for limits Beijing places on access to its own market. SoftBank Group founder Masayoshi Son is envisaging setting up a $1 trillion industrial complex in Arizona that will build robots and artificial intelligence. The Iran-Israel conflict enters its 8th day on Friday. Israel attacked Iranian Special Forces headquarters of the Internal Security Apparatus in Tehran and Center for Research and Development of Iran's nuclear weapons project. Israel retaliated in response to Iran firing missiles and drones at Israel. An Iranian missile struck Israel's Bir Shabeh on Friday, causing a crater in the ground and damage to residential buildings. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Friday that there would be no negotiations with Israel while attacks continue. Spokesperson of the Israeli army on Friday said that it carried out strikes on dozens of military targets in Iran overnight. He added that Israel is ready to deepen strikes into Iran. Foreign ministers of Britain, France and Germany will meet with the European Union's top diplomat Kaja Kallas at Germany's permanent mission in Geneva. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi would also join the talks on his country's nuclear program with counterparts. German Foreign Minister Johann Wadephol on Friday said that if Iran is serious on nuclear assurances, Germany is ready for more talks. Amid the conflict, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Thursday that the change or fall of the Iranian regime was not a goal of Israel's military campaign, but could occur as a result. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt said that US President Donald Trump will make a decision on whether the US will get involved in the Israel-Iran conflict in the next 2 weeks. Countries around the world are moving swiftly to evacuate their citizens from the region. Countries are racing against time to secure the safety of their citizens, and governments remain on high alert as evacuation efforts expand. Australia on Friday suspended operations at its embassy in Tehran due to the deteriorating security environment in Iran and has directed the departure of all Australian officials. One person was killed and at least 14 were injured at an overnight Russian drone strike on the Ukrainian Black Sea city of Odessa. The strike damaged high-rise buildings and railway infrastructure. A U.S. appeals court on Thursday let Trump retain control over California's National Guard, while the state's Democratic governor proceeds with a lawsuit challenging the legality of the Republican president's use of the troops to quell protests and unrest in Los Angeles. Trump took to Truth Social following the ruling, calling it a big win and a great decision. US President Donald Trump on Thursday extended the deadline for China-based video app TikTok to September 17th. Trump signed an executive order pushing back the deadline for 90 days. Mexican authorities announced the discovery of a secret tunnel linking Mexico and the US amid US pressure to combat cross-border drug trafficking. The authorities also discovered a clandestine mini refinery in the eastern city of Veracruz, along with 500,000 barrels of crude oil they suspect were stolen from the country's pipeline. A Kenyan court sentenced 2 men to 30 years in prison on Thursday for assisting the 2019 Al-Shabaab attack in Nairobi that killed 21 people. A rock slide in Alberta Rocky Mountains of the Canadian province on Thursday afternoon resulted in at least 1 death and left several injured. SpaceX's massive Starship spacecraft exploded into a dramatic fireball during testing in Texas late on Wednesday. Its engineering teams are investigating the incident. Using software to enforce a teenage social media ban can work in Australia. The head of the world's biggest trial of the technology said on Friday, this marks a step closer to its ban on social media for children under 16 years of age. You're watching Express News. We're heading for a short break. Stay with us.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you.
Exactly what save your country.
You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DDND.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching Express News. Let's continue getting you more international updates. Hurricane Eric made a landfall on the coast of Oaxaca in Mexico on Thursday, bringing intense rains and life-threatening floods and mudslides. Hurricane Eric caused widespread destruction in Oaxaca, southern Mexico, disrupting infrastructure across the region and causing power outages for more than 1 lakh users. Hurricane Eric battered Mexico's Guerrero coast with heavy rainfall and flooding. Vehicles navigated flooded streets as rainfall continued to pose flooding risks throughout the region. Coastal restaurants in the eastern Pacific coast of Mexico bore the brunt of Eric, with establishments reduced to scattered debris and furniture swept away by the storm surge. Workers from Mexico's Federal Electricity Commission helped clear roads in Mexico's southwestern state of Guerrero after the passing of Hurricane Eric. Heavy rains plunged the southernmost Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul into floodwaters. The state's civil defense has issued a red alert for swelling risks at the Taquari River until June 20th. A heat wave sweeping across France pushed temperatures in Paris to 31 degrees Celsius. France's National Weather Agency has issued a heat wave warning for the western regions of the country. British capital London recorded temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius on Thursday, the hottest in 2025 and 10 degrees above the seasonal average. The Indian Met Department has issued a yellow alert for the National Capital Region, forecasting wet spells until June 23rd. IMD has predicted heavy showers in India's Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh and East Rajasthan until June 25th. In Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh, heavy rainfall is likely on June 22nd and 25th. Ahead of the International Day of Yoga on June 21st, various yoga events are being held across the globe, bringing together enthusiasts to promote wellness, harmony and the ancient Indian practice. The Indian Embassy in Washington, D.C. hosted a vibrant yoga session at the Lincoln Memorial on Thursday. Event highlighted yoga's deeper purpose beyond physical fitness. The Indian Embassy in France organized events and free workshops, bringing people together to participate in yoga and also learn its benefits. Numerous yoga events and retreats were organized across Brazil with the support of Indian teachers who introduced participants to Indian meditation techniques. South Africa embraced yoga with great enthusiasm as people joined events seeking physical fitness, stress relief, mental well-being and spiritual growth. Yoga enthusiasts in Indonesia gathered at events across the country celebrating the rapid rise of yoga studios and also its growing role in the wellness industry. As a run-up to the International Day of Yoga, Indian Mission in Nepal organized yoga session on Ferwa Lakeside in Pokhara. Hundreds of yoga enthusiasts participated in the yoga session. Former US President Joe Biden attended a Juneteenth celebration at a historic church in Texas. Juneteenth marks the emancipation of enslaved Black Americans. Hundreds of people gathered at Los Angeles' Leimert Park to mark Juneteenth with culture, music and vibrant displays of community pride. During the annual celebration that marks Corpus Christi in northern Venezuela, dancing devils took to the streets to thank God for triumph of good over evil. Brazilian Catholics built large carpets made from salt and discarded plastic to mark Corpus Christi Day and to display their faith. Favourite Trawlerman, ridden by William Vick, led all the way to win Royal Ascot's headline Gold Cup in Ascot, England. King Charles and Queen Camilla presented the trophy to the winner. Locals and tourists enjoyed the new face of Casa Batlló in Barcelona after restoration of its 1906 back facade and private courtyard. Casa Batlló is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Antoni Gaudi's celebrated works. Maido, a restaurant in Lima, Paris, was crowned the world's best restaurant for 2025 on Thursday by the influential and often controversial World's Best 50 Restaurants list. In downtown Mexico City, vibrant fashion is making a bold statement. Eye-catching garments featuring bright colors, lace, voluminous cuts and bandana patterns are turning heads on the streets. Indian film actor Ajay Devgan finally announced the release date of the film Son of Sardar 2, calling it a return of Sardar. The movie is set to release in theatres on July 25th. Indian filmmaker Amir Khan's Sitare Zameen Par has now hit the theatres. The movie has already made a collection of $288,000 in advance booking. The highly anticipated South Indian film actors Dhanush and Nagarjuna starrer Kubera has finally hit the big screen. The movie marks their first on-screen collaboration. Oscar-winning actor Robert De Niro attended the premiere of Anupam Kher's directorial film Tanvi the Great in New York on Thursday. American filmmaker James Gunn's Superman is expected to open with about $135 million in the US. That number would be put among the top openings for a DC film. The Grammy-winning rapper Cardi B dropped her first single of 2025, Outside, on Friday, marking her first solo release since Enough last year. Oscar-winning director Danny Boyle, while promoting his zombie sequel 28 years later, has said that the horror genre is infinitely flexible and helps keep cinemas open. Danny Boyle's new horror movie, which released this week on June 20th, is third in the franchise after 28 days later and 28 weeks later. American actor Eric Dane and the cast and crew of Amazon Prime's new series Countdown walked the grey carpet at its world premiere in Hollywood. Filmed entirely in Los Angeles, Countdown follows a task force racing to stop a terrorist attack. Creator Derek Haas says the series aims to revive the energy and spirit of 80s action films. Talking of sports, day one of the first test match between England and India is underway in Leeds. England won the toss and chose to bowl first. Former Baggy Greens Test captain Tim Paine has been appointed Australia A coach for 3 series in the second half of this year. Marnus Labuschagne has been dropped and injured Steve Smith has been ruled out of the Australian lineup for series opening test against West Indies. Trinbago Knight Riders have announced the appointment of Dwayne Bravo as their new head coach for the upcoming edition of the Caribbean Premier League. Indian chess prodigy Divya Deshmukh pulled off a remarkable win over world number 1 Hugh Yifan at the World Blitz Team Chess Championship. Olympic gold medalist Neeraj Chopra will return to action in the Paris Diamond League 2025 on Friday. Real Madrid forward Kylian Mbappe has been discharged from the hospital after suffering from gastroenteritis during the Club World Cup. Lionel Messi propelled Inter Miami to a 2-1 victory over FC Porto in a Group A match at the Club World Cup on Thursday. Brazil's Palmeiras beat Al Ahly of Egypt 2-0 in the Group A Clash World Cup. In Group B, Atletico Madrid secured a 3-1 win over Seattle Sounders, while Botafogo stunned European champions PSG 1-0. Women's Asian Cup qualifiers scheduled for next week in Jordan have been postponed. The qualifiers had been scheduled to kick off on Monday and run till July 5th. Carlos Quezada has been appointed as the manager of the Serie A side Parma. He became the second youngest manager in Serie top flight. The United States of America booked its place in the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Gold Cup after a 1-0 win over Saudi Arabia. Alexander Bublik secured a shock win over Yannick Sinner at Halle Open. This marks Sinner's first defeat since French Open final. Alexander Bublik will face Thomas McCarthy in the quarterfinals of the Halle Open on Friday. With that, we end this edition of Express News. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.